organization in order to find that quality of leadership that will hold things together. What's another tremendous value that Nu Skin added? Nu Skin became a publicly traded company, and not just a publicly traded company, but Nu Skin became a publicly traded company traded on the New York Stock Exchange that has been followed by some of the largest and finest firms on Wall Street. That changed our business. When people were critical or cautionary of the industry, it helped advance my career when I could say, well, let's find out what Merrill Lynch thinks. Let's just see what Merrill Lynch thinks, because we can review their comments about the network marketing industry as we study Nu Skin. Let's just find out what Goldman Sachs thinks. Let's find out what the various financial firms on Wall Street think. You see, the decision of Wall Street to embrace the network marketing industry, we as an industry owe that in some measure to Nu Skin. They were the first, one of the very first companies at least, to gain the widespread buy-in of Wall Street. When Wall Street said yes, then it started to look silly for us individuals to say no, didn't it? I mean, if Merrill Lynch says yes, who are you to say no? When I meet a person and say, well, Randy, I don't know about the network marketing industry, I say, well, Merrill Lynch does. They like it. They underwrite companies in the industry. They follow companies. They make positive stock recommendations for companies in the industry. Specifically, here's one, Nu Skin. At times in its existence, Herbalife has likewise been a publicly traded company. That further accelerated, I believe, this evolution of network marketing. Well, there are more things that we've learned. Remember I said a few moments ago that we would talk about these multiple S-curves. What do I mean by that? Well, imagine an X and a Y-axis. Imagine an X and a Y-axis. All companies start on the bottom left-hand corner of the graph. Sadly, most companies finish on the bottom left-hand corner. They don't get off the ground floor. But here's the way that it goes. If a company's product or service or opportunity ever stops being obscure and starts to become popularized, there will then follow a period of profound and dramatic growth. Now that's not just true in the network marketing industry. That is typical in business. It starts on the bottom left-hand corner. Most don't get off the ground floor. If the company's product, service, opportunity ever stops being obscure, starts to become popularized, there will follow a period of growth. And then if you shoot an arrow into the sky, it can only go so high, and it will then either stabilize at this new higher level, hence the S-curve. Like this, it will stabilize at this new higher level, or if there's no real fundamental value, then it will roll back down the bell curve as opposed to an S-curve. It's critically important to note that there have been multiple companies in this network marketing industry that have evidenced abilities to have multiple S-curves. Why is that important? If that's not evident, then timing becomes everything. Then if you're not first, you don't really have an opportunity. Then one has to wonder, should I get involved? Because if it's only good because I'm first, then perhaps I shouldn't do it. And so let's go back and review the Amway story again. The company started in 1959, went through a period of unrestricted growth until 1972, reached a level of $600 million in sales. And then that growth was stopped. This is typical. Whenever a dramatic surge of growth goes on for a period of time, there will almost always be some external event that stops the growth. In this time, it was a very profound external event. That was the Amway litigation that stopped the growth. Now, very critical to point out, it did not roll down the backside of the curve. It did not become a bell curve. It sustained itself at the new higher level. How and why? Because all of those people said, I love the product, it works, it's reasonably priced, and the company's continuing to send me my checks, and they keep clearing the bank. That was the first S-curve, and it was fueled by what? A handful of consumer products and the great American dream of free enterprise. Then there's a period of stabilization 4 years long, during which the Amway litigation was argued. Finally, here comes the Amway decision, and that triggered the second S-curve. It was far more explosive than the first, as the company's sales shot straight up. They shot straight up to $2 billion in sales. This was the second S-curve, and the people that you are most familiar with, the names you're most familiar with as the largest earners in that company, were not there at the beginning. They weren't there at the genesis. They didn't participate in the first S-curve. They benefited from the second S-curve. It was larger than the first. It took the company from $600 million to $2 billion in annual sales, and it was fueled by what? Product line extension. You know what though? Amway had a third S-curve, the most powerful of all. Took the company from $2 billion in sales clear up into the $9 and $10 billion range. And what was that about? That was about multinational expansion. Boy, that's a critically important thought as we now look at where we find this company, Monavie, a company that has had one unbelievable, remarkable season of growth in the United States, but which now which now embarks upon, I promise you, the beginning of a second and far more powerful S-curve than the first, because this Monavie juggernaut, which has set itself apart, become singular, unique, and distinct in the United States, is about to set itself apart in the world. That's about to happen. It's been proven before, but it's never been proven by a company with all the special dynamics of Monavie. There are other companies that have experienced these multiple S-curves. And by the way, why is this important? Why is it important? It's important because I want you to know that I know that you can make a career decision to be involved with Monavie. This can be what you do. This can be the once and forever, the all-time. This can be from now until the end of your career. This can be from now until the end of your life, and it can be passed on to your family members. Why? Because multiple S-curves can't exist. Monavie is about to enter a second S-curve of profound importance. Who else has had multiple S-curves? Well, Nu Skin has had multiple S-curves. The first one, profound growth in the United States. The second S-curve in Nu Skin's case was what? It was divisional diversification, as they went from being Nu Skin alone to being Nu Skin and another division. Big Planet provoked a second S-curve. IDN Pharmaceuticals provoked another S-curve. And then multinational expansion provoked another S-curve. Herbalife has had multiple S-curves. Sunrider has had multiple S-curves. In this evolution of network marketing, what have we learned? We have learned that though a company goes through a profound and dramatic season of growth, that need not imply that it's over once and for all. That in fact can suggest, and has suggested in the very best and the finest, that it's setting the stage for a bigger, more dramatic season of growth to come. And history has suggested that the largest incomes are provoked by those who arrive for S-curve 2 or for S-curve 3. History has proven and evidenced this. There's some other very, very important things that we can learn by studying the history of our industry. I have been and remain a student of this industry of network marketing. I believe that there is no reason to make a mistake. There's a big enough model. Now, we will know for sure what tomorrow has in store for us when tomorrow comes. But I believe that the best way to accurately predict the future is to carefully and critically study the past. There are a few things that we know. One thing we know is that if the product or service has downward price pressure, there can be no compensation plan stability. I'd like to teach you for a moment, speak with you for a moment about the lessons of XL Telecommunication. XL Telecommunication experienced a period of unbelievable success in the 90s. Sales just absolutely skyrocketed based on telecommunication, a technology service, a telephone service. Its success came at a time when we all as a society were used to spending 35, 40, 45, even 50 cents a minute for long-distance telephone service. The compensation plan was constructed around the idea that we would spend 35, 40, 45 cents per minute for long-distance phone service. Well, tell me, does anyone reviewing this material spend 35 cents a minute on phone service now? Of course not. When we stopped spending 50 cents a minute and started spending 25 cents a minute, the entire compensation plan had to be reconstructed and reconfigured. This is one thing that's long since been proven in network marketing. Instability in the compensation plan creates insecurity among the distributor force. Insecurity among the distributor force guarantees an absolute lack or stop, a cessation of productivity. And so what were the lessons? Let's learn the lessons of the past. XL Telecommunication went through a period of unbelievable, stunning, dramatic growth. It was exciting. It was fun to watch, and for those who were in it, it was fun to be a part of it. But then, long-distance phone service prices began to spiral downward. And when those prices went down, the compensation plan had to be reconstructed. Compensation plan was reconstructed. Many people left the business. They were disillusioned. They were concerned. They were confused. Now, pricing was reestablished at about 20 cents a minute. Well, let me ask you this. How many of you are spending 20 cents a minute for long-distance service? Nobody. Absolutely nobody. And so when the prices went down to 6 cents a minute, the compensation plan had to be completely reconstructed again. And when the compensation plan was reconfigured, then what took place? Once again, a lack of belief, and ultimately the company fell into absolute total turmoil and disrepair and failed. What is the lesson? The lesson is that if it's a technology issue, the price will go down. The price of any technology issue always goes down. When the price goes down, the compensation plan has to be reconstructed. When the compensation plan has to be reconstructed, the distributor force is decimated. You know, sometimes the lessons seem so hard to learn. I have a friend named Alex. Alex launched a company. He was involved in XL Telecommunication. He launched a company. He called me, tried to get me involved with it. Said, Randy, we're going to sell music downloads, and we're going to do it through network marketing or multi-level marketing. I said, Alex, don't do it. Don't do it.